Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityaṁ bhāgavata-sevayā Bhagavati Uttamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nishtike Durlabhamanasho Deho Dehinam Shanabhangurai Tatrapi Durlabham Manye Vaikuntha Priyadarshana Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha Śrī Caitanya-caritāmṛta Nityaṁ Śrī Advaita-gadādhara Śrīvāsadi Gaura Bhakta-vrinda Hare Kṛṣṇa Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. That's it. Hare Krishna, dear worshipful devotees, thank you so much for taking out your valuable time to read here Srimad-Bhāgavatam. We are reading Canto 10, Chapter 1, The Advent of Lord Śrī Krishna. And we read till text number 43 last time. So we will continue from this verse, that is text number 44. Tasmana kasya chidroham acharetsa tatha vidaha Atmanaha shemam anvichan drobdhurvai parato bhayam. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Therefore, since envious, impious activities cause a body in which one suffers in the next life, why should one act impiously? Considering one's welfare, one should not envy anyone. For an envious person must always fear harm from his enemies, either in this life or in the next. Purport: instead of being inimical towards other living entities, one should act piously by engaging in the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus avoiding a fearful situation both in this life and in the next. In this regard, the following moral instruction by great politician Chanakya Pandit is very meaningful. Tyaja durjana samsargam bhaja sadhu samagamam kuru punyam ahoratram smara nitya anityatam. One should give up the company of devils, demons, and non-devotees, and should always associate with devotees and saintly persons. One should act piously, thinking that this life is temporary and not be attached to temporary happiness and distress. Thus, the Krishna consciousness movement is teaching all of human society this principle of becoming Krishna conscious and thus solving the problems of life forever. Tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mameti. So Arjuna. Hare Krishna. So very, very straightforward purport. So just to remind us what scene is going on, Kamsa has the hairs of Devaki in one hand and his sword in one hand, about to chop off her head. And Vasudev is speaking all these verses, the husband of Devaki, trying to somehow or the other pursue Kamsa to not kill Devaki, his own sister, and that to the day of marriage. So he has given multiple verses from last 7-8 verses. He has been talking about the body, the soul, what is the process of transmigration of soul. And in this verse, he's mentioning, hey, my dear Kamsa, if you are acting impiously by killing your sister or envious of her, not only in this life you will suffer by getting bad name. People will say, hey, look at, he was so like, unmanly, killed his own sister, and that to the day of marriage. Will anyone give you good fame, good words? No, everyone will criticize you. And not only that, even in the next life you will suffer. So very multiple examples are there. We may try to kill someone in this life, in the next life they will kill us. Very simple. We may be envious of someone in this life, next life tables will turn. And so what's the solution? The solution is Prabhupada is mentioning, by engaging in the service of Lord, we thus avoiding a fearful situation in this life and in the next life too. And beautiful verse by Chanakya Pandit, Tuaja Tyaja. Tyaja means to give up. To give up what? Durjana. Durjana, bad people, bad association. Some sargam, bhaja, sadhu, samagam. And take the association of the sadhus. Kuru punyam, aho ratram. Day and night. Aha ratra. Aha means day and ratri means night. So Kuru punyam. One should do act piously. One should always act piously. Smara Nityaṁ anityatam. Always smara Nityaṁ. Nityaṁ bhāgavata-sevayā. Anityatam. That life, thinking that this life is anitya. One should not be attached to happiness and distress, because this is the reality of life, and that life is anitya. Kamala dala jala jivana thalamala. Therefore, one should take shelter of what? Whom? One who is eternal, and that is Krishna, the Guru, the process of bhakti that will give eternal, shashvata results. So, and that is the pure process of Krishna consciousness. So, Vasudev is basically telling that this will not only lead to bad in the next life, you'll get a very bad body, and in this life also you will suffer. So please, my dear sir, please don't do what you're about to do, to kill Devaki. Let's read the next verse. Yes, Kashish Mataji, want to read?
Ji Prabhuji, Hare Kṛṣṇa, Dandavat Pranam. Dandavat Pranam, all devotees. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Text number 45. Esha tavanuja bala kripana putrikopama hantum naharsi kalyanim imam tvam dina vatsalaha. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. As your younger sister, this poor girl Devaki is like your own daughter and deserves to be affectionately maintained. You are merciful and therefore you should not kill her. Indeed, she deserves your affection. So Prabhuji here, Vasudev is explaining to Kamsa, he's trying to convince him that not to be merciless on his own sister and not to kill her and show affection. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Back to you. Please add on.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji. The elder brother is like a father, whether boy or girl. The elder brother is always considered as a fatherly role. So Kamsa, being the elder brother, was very affectionate. That's why he took the position of a chariot driver. But at the same time, the demoniac qualities were there. As soon as once false prestige or once harm to one's own self was there, perceived harm, then he immediately turned the tables and tried to kill, or was about to kill. But quite straightforward, Vasudev Maharaj, after explaining from text number 38 to text number 44, multiple verses, and Prabhupada gives detailed purports on these 7-8 verses, that please, my dear Kamsa, don't kill your own daughter, or like she's like your own daughter, your sister. She's helpless and she needs your affection, not your sword. So let's see whether Kamsa adhered or not. Text number 46. We'll read further. Someone like to read? Didn't get a chance yesterday.
Yeah, I can read. Text 46. Hare Kṛṣṇa devotees. Śrī Śuka Vacha Evam Sa Sam Bir Beder Podya Mano Pi Darunaha Nan Nyavrattata Kauravya Parusha Dan Anuvrattaha. Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Sukadev Goswami continued, O best of the Kuru dynasty, Kamsa was fiercely cruel and was actually a follower of the Rakshasas. Therefore, he could be neither pacified nor terrified by the good instructions given by Vasudeva. He did not care about the results of sinful activities either in this life or in the next. So Sukadev Goswami is continuing to explain to Parikshit Maharaj that Kamsa is actually born to Rakshasas and he couldn't care less about good values or bad values. He's got only one objective in mind right now. So somehow Vasudev is trying to convince him different ways to get him away from killing his own sister. Thank you, Prabhuji. Back to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Let's read this. Na anya vartata kauravya purushadan anu vritaha. So basically, the demoniac people, the Rakshasas, Purusha Adan, those who are, we discussed this word like Pumans, Virajit, Vina, Pashugnat, or Purush, similar. So they do not take to the good instructions by the attempts by great souls, right? Like Vasudev is certainly a great soul. By moral instructions or by any ways, they cannot be pacified because their demoniac qualities are so high. Even Prahlad Maharaj says a very similar verse. Mater na Krishne parata swato va mitho vipadyed griha vritana adanta gobhir vishutam tamishram punascharvita charvananam. Mati na Krishne, उनकी मति कृष्ण में नहीं लगती. Whose? Mati na Krishne parata swato, by their own effort, which they are not interested in anyways. By others' effort, others may give good counsel, good words, good, please try this. No, they are hell-bent upon their wrong habits. Why? Because they're too attached to sense gratification, I, me, and mine. So they do not take to the good counsel of Guru Sadhu Shastra. Those who have unbridled senses, those who have unbridled mind. So, and that's what we see these days. Majority of the people, it's very hard for them to take to Krishna consciousness. because there is no slightest of the interest, or to speak of the interest in spiritual life. Even the piety is like the even general pious people are very rarely seen, because all they care about is what is in it for me, how can I enjoy more, and there's no conception of God, and there's no room for God in their lives. So we should be not like Kamsa. Kamsa did not hear to the good counsel of Vasudev because of his bad mentality. So a great soul like Vasudev is speaking. So this Rakshasi mentality will make us kind of oblivious, or make us kind of aloof of the Guru or the sadhus, or this Rakshasi mentality inside will not let us to absorb the good instructions of Guru Sadhu Shastra. And we will become, like it's mentioned, he did not care about the results. Hey, who cares? Rinam kritva gritam pivit yavat jivim sukha jivit bhasmi bhuta dehasya kim punar agaman bhavit. By hell or, it's a beg, borrow or steal. Enjoy. That's the motto these days, right? You beg, borrow or steal, but one must enjoy. So this is very particular. Okay, any other thoughts, comments anyone has? Yes, Mataji, you want to share something?
Prabhuji, in this verse, they have used word Kauravya for Parikshit Maharaj. I'm not getting this. If we see the synonyms, Kauravya is O Maharaj Parikshit.
They were all like the Kurus only. The dynasty
Okay,
is
so
the
it's
same.
Kuru dynasty. Ji, I got it. Thank you so much, Hare Krishna.
Yeah. They were not like Pandavas, and Kauravas were basically all Kauravas only from the Kurus.
Ji.
So that's why the last seed of, or the last, after the Pandavas and the 105 brothers, basically, he was the only one left. That is the subsequent generations. And that's why Ashwatthama tried to kill, to kind of destroy the seed. But Hare Kṛṣṇa Radhe Ke, Hare Kṛṣṇa Hare Ke, Krishna protected. Let's see what happens further. 647. Yes, someone wants to read this text?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, I can read. Hare Krishna, devotees, Dandattana. Text number 47. Nirbandham tasyatam gnatva vichintyana kudun dubi praptam kalam prativyodhyam idam tatra vapadyate. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. When Vasudeva saw that Kamsa was determined to kill his sister Devaki, he thought to himself very deeply, considering the imminent danger of death. He thought of another plan to stop Kamsa. Although Vasudeva saw the immense danger that his wife Devaki would be killed, he was convinced of his welfare, because at his birth the demigods had played drums and kettle drums. He therefore attempted another way to save Devaki. So Hare Krishna Prabhu, what I understood. So Vasudeva, since Kamsa was determined to kill Devaki, his own sister, So he was thinking, how to stop Kamsa. So he is having another plan, so that he can, the imminent danger. First of all, he has to stop imminent danger from Kamsa killing Devaki. Please add Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Very, very powerful point here. Such nice words Kamsa, Vasudev used for Kamsa. Right? We remember in the beginning he said, "Oh, you are the pride of Bhuja dynasty. You're the pride of your family. You're a great hero. Your qualities are so great." But nothing worked. He explained about the soul. He explained about the defaming. He explained about what will be the consequence of this bad reaction or action in the next birth. Everything he tried, but nothing worked out. And now just think about in this time of great distress, isn't it? Isn't it a great distress? Just imagine that we are Vasudev in that situation. Just imagine this. The scene is very kind of particular here. Just the picture speaks 1,000 words. So just imagine we are that Vasudev. Just imagine that he has spoken so many words, kind words, but still nothing demoniac. And Kamsa has a Brahmin thread also. It's so interesting. So, but he's trying to kill. What will be the situation, right? The greatness of a person is tested in provoking circumstances. In that provoking, now the provocation has grown like 100 times, because his first attempt to save Devaki was pretty much was unfruitful, because as mentioned here, when he saw the imminent danger, the imminent danger of death, the first plan did not work to save Devaki. So Prabhupada is mentioning a very nice point here. Now, in that frame of great danger, great provocation, the plan A completely failed, but he was convinced of what? He was convinced of his welfare, that because at his birth the demigods had played kettle drums. His name was Anakadunduhi. That he will be the cause of the Supreme Lord. Right? Who was the father of Vasudev? Anyone remembers?
Ugrasena.
Ugrasena. I think we read in Canto 9 that how the demigods played this kettle drums, that this personality will be a cause of Shurasena, actually. No. This is Vasudev. Vasudev was not mentioned here. So the Vasudev was married to the daughters of Devaka. So when one plan didn't work, he thought of another plan. What was that plan? We'll see what is about to come. Basically, conviction in the Lord's words, conviction in the words of gods are also devotees, conviction in the words of the Supreme Lord, that yes, if they have spoken something that the Supreme Lord has to appear, then it will appear. So conviction in the names of the Lord, conviction in holy name, even at the time of difficulty. It's a great lesson here. Even in the time of difficulty, not losing our hope, not losing our conviction that yes, if the Guru Sadhu Shastra have said something, it will work. It is not going to go in vain. So let's see what happens further and what plan he chose. Next verse. Anyone? Yes, please.
Hare Krishna, text 48. Mrityur buddhi matapo yo yavat buddhi balodayam yadi asona nivarteta naparadho sthite hinaha. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Śrīla Prabhupada, Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai. As long as he has intelligence and bodily strength, an intelligent person must try to avoid death. This is the duty of every embodied person. But if death cannot be avoided in spite of one's endeavors, a person facing death commits no offense. Purport. It is natural for a person facing untimely death to try his best to save himself. This is one's duty, although death is sure, everyone should try to avoid it and not meet death without opposition, because every living soul is by nature eternal. Because death is a punishment imposed in the condemned life of material existence. The Vedic culture is based on avoiding death. Tyaktva deham janmaneti. Everyone should try to avoid death and rebirth by cultivating spiritual life and should not submit to death without struggling to survive. One who is not trying to stop death is not an intelligent human being. Because Devaki was face to face with imminent death, it was Vasudev's duty to save her, as he was trying his best to do. He therefore considered another way to approach Kamsa so that Devaki would be saved. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, back to you.
Thank you. So what's your takeaway from this?
That we should try, at least whatever circumstances we face, we must try, because even this, it is said that Manushya Deha Durlabha, so we have to try to save our this body. Yeah, that's what I got.
Very nice. It's very important purport, because sometimes people on the name of, I'm not the body is temporary, and soul is eternal. That does not mean we become callous towards the body. As mentioned here, one should try to avoid that. Intelligent person, as long as he has intelligence and bodily strength, intelligent person must try to avoid death. So now there are two meanings to it. One is the gross body. One should not try to say artificially, hey, I can eat whatever I want. Ultimately, whatever life God has given, it will happen. I will not take care of the body. I will eat pizzas all the time and fried foods and a lot of sweets, and whatever happens will happen, right? So that's not being intelligent. Because we know that those things, or in the sense, okay, I will drive at reckless speed, or not care for the rules and regulations by the government, or whatever has happened. Hare Kṛṣṇa, Hare Kṛṣṇa. It does not mean that we stop caring. That's the whole point. That we should be cautious. We should be careful. We should do if someone is sick, must take the whatever medicine, rest and all. That should be done. But till the body can be saved. That's the point. Till the death can be avoided. But when the stage has come, it cannot be avoided, then one gratefully and happily accepts. Okay, I've done my best. And there are certain stages at the old age or whatever. Now, the other meaning to this is, which is Prabhupada is telling, everyone should try to avoid death and rebirth by cultivating spiritual life. And should not submit to death without struggling to survive. In short, one should make a plan before the death that one does not have to take this birth and death again. So that there is no more birth and no more death again. After quitting this body, one goes back to the real home. That is the kingdom of God. And one who is not trying to stop death is not intelligent. Whatever degrees one may have, whatever qualifications, the real qualification is to become intelligent and to avoid the real problems of life, which is birth, old age, disease, and death. If one is not trying so, one is not intelligent. And when trying so means taking shelter of Krishna Khan, then only we can avoid. Otherwise, there's no other way. By artificial means, one can maybe increase. I was reading a story today. You know, Alexander the Great. When he was dying out of malaria, he died when he was trying to capture India. The mosquitoes killed him. That's what they say. So when he was dying, he had some conditions that when I die, leave all the gold and everything around me, right? Leave a few doctors when my body is being buried, to a few doctors on this side, few doctors on this side, and leave my arms outstretched, like this. And then people asked, can you explain what that means? What's the purport? So he said that I want to show to the world that although I have millions of gold coins, but I cannot buy one extra minute to live. Although I can afford the best of the doctors in the world, but the best of the doctors cannot give me one extra minute to live. And although I was trying to get a lot through my 2 hands to capture, to become the king of the world, get a lot of name, fame, recognition, money, this, that. But when I am leaving, my hands are empty-handed. So intelligent, not intelligent. Intelligence means to take shelter of Krishna. So we don't have to take repeated birth and death again. Any other thoughts, additions in this text before we move to the next one? Okay, would someone like to read text 49 and 50? Yes, Devika Mataji. Want to read? Nandi Mataji, want to read?
Yes. Hare Kṛṣṇa, Prabhuji, no devotees. It's the text 49 and 50, yeah. Pradaya Mrityaga Putran Mochaye Kripanam Imam Sutame Yadi Jayan Nityurvanam Yetache Vipaya Yoiva Kilnashan Gati Dhatu Duratyaya Upastitu Nivartita Nivitaha Punar Apate. Translation and purport by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. Vasudev considered, by delivering all my sons to Kamsa, who is death personified, I shall save the life of Devaki. Perhaps Kamsa will die before my sons take birth, or since he is already destined to die at the hands of my son, one of my sons may kill him. For the time being, let me promise to hand over my sons so that Kamsa will give up this immediate threat. And if in due course of time Kamsa dies, I shall have nothing to fear. Purport. Vasudeva wanted to save the life of Devaki by promising to deliver his sons to Kamsa. In the future, he thought, Kamsa may die, or I may not beget any sons. Even if a son is born and I deliver him to Kamsa, Kamsa may die at his hands. For by providence, anything could happen. It is very difficult to understand how things are managed by providence. Thus, Vasudev decided that he would promise to deliver his sons to the hands of Kamsa in order to save Devaki from the imminent danger of death. Hare Kṛṣṇa.
Thank you so much, Mataji.
Here, Vasudev is trying different means to avoid Kamsa from killing Devaki. And this time he's thinking of, okay, let me try this way, that is accepting that Vasudev kills the sons instead of Devaki. This is what he tried to promise. Hare Kṛṣṇa, this is what I understood, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much. So in life, when plan A does not work, plan 2 should be ready. And just think about, he had no real time to contemplate all that. Like on the spot, he is coming. Such high intelligence is there. So devotees are very intelligent. At that very moment, what is the best thing to do at that moment? Right? How can one think so clearly? How can one think so, for the best interest of Devaki at that moment? Just think about it. The sword is ready, right? It's not that he's thinking maybe I'll kill after 5 days. Every second is so critical there, right? Isn't it? So they said, okay, future is future. What will happen in future? It is very difficult to understand how things are managed by providence. Very nice line. We don't know what will come in future. We don't know what the Lord will arrange. What will happen? Will the son be born? And if he's born, maybe he'll die because that's how the celestial voice spoke. The Kamsa will die, may die at his hands. Anything could happen, or maybe the Kamsa will die because so many wars happen between the Kshatriyas. So anything could happen. A lot of combination, a lot of options are there, but that's not in my control. What can be done now? What is then the best thing to do right now is to yena kena prakarin, somehow or the other save Devaki from the imminent danger. That was the whole objective. And then he said, okay, my dear Kamsa, I will, he's actually considering, he's considering that if I give my sons, if I ask, then the Devaki will be saved. So let's see whether Kamsa agreed to this proposal or not. So this was going on in Vasudev's mind. Let's see. Anyone wants to read? Next verse. Yes, Vasudeva, Mataji, and to read.
Dandavat Pranam, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, everyone. Text 51. Agner yatha daru viyoga yugoyor adrashtato nayana nimittam asti evam hi jantor api durvivavaya sarira samyoga biyoga hetuhu. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. When a fire, for some unseen reason, leaps over one piece of wood and sets fire to the next, the reason is destiny. Similarly, when a living being accepts one kind of body and leaves aside another, there is no other reason than unseen destiny. Purport: when there is a fire in a village, the fire sometimes jumps over one house and burns another. Similarly, when there is a forest fire, the fire sometimes jumps over one tree and catches another. Why this happens, no one can say. One may set forth some imaginary reason why the nearest tree or house did not catch fire, whereas a tree or house in a distant place did. But actually, the reason is destiny. This reason also applies to the transmigration of the soul, by which a prime minister in one life may become a dog in the next. The work of unseen destiny cannot be ascertained by practical experimental knowledge, and therefore one must be satisfied by reasoning that everything is done by supreme providence. So here, what I understand is that everything is our destiny. The karma of what we'll do in our this life, it will carry in our next life. And according to that, in this 8.4 million species, we have to take a birth. Maybe a prime minister who was a human being in his previous life may become a dog in the next life. That's what Prabhupada explained in the purport. And I also heard in one lecture that one of our old previous prime minister in the 90s, he became the dog at London. So this all are like a destiny. The work we'll do, and accordingly we'll get the body. Back to you, Prabhuji. Hare Kṛṣṇa.
Thank you so much. So the role of destiny is shared here. No one knows how things happen. Hey, why this thing happened to such a young person? Why this thing happened? Sometimes someone is very close to death, but does not, like an 80-year-old could live for 20 more years, and sometimes a 20-year-old could not live for 8 more hours. It's very hard to conceive. Gahana karmana gati. It's very, very intricate. So we should not try to. It is, as we read previously, it is very difficult to understand how these things are managed by providence. But they're managed very well. Well, in the sense they're managed by the expert Krishna's energies. There is no mistake. It's not that someone else's karma will be given to someone, or vice versa. There's no mistake by Yamadutas. They are experts. In the material world, there are mistakes, like someone's order could be given to someone and vice versa, right? Even though the expert companies also, they do mistakes like that. That you order something, but you get something else, right? It may happen. Mistakes may happen with the material world, but by the system of God, there is no mistake. But we have to accept what's in destiny. So let's read the last verse and then we'll pause. 52. Anyone who hasn't got a chance yet?
Prabhu, can I read?
Yes. Go.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, everyone. Dandavat Pranam. Text 52. Evam vimarshyatam papam yad atmani darshanam pujayam asya vai shaurir bahumana paruhashram. Translation: by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada ki jai. After thus considering the matter as far as his knowledge would allow, Vasudev submitted his proposal to the sinful Kamsa with great respect. Thank you, Prabhu. Back to you.
That's true. Thank you for reading.
Okay, for me, it is like situation. Depending on the situation, one has to. The whole thing is coming up like wherever you are, or whatever situation we are in, we should not give up our thought process. First, we have to think, and just everything, whatever we have to think, and depending on the Lord Krishna, Govinda, have to just act accordingly, Prabhu. That's what I understood.
Okay. Very nice. If we are in Vasudev's situation, just think about the stress level. Just think about it's a provoking situation. It's such a difficult situation. And already one attempt, 7-8 verses he has spoken, and that was just futile. It had no impact on the evil Kamsa. He was hell-bent upon killing Devaki. Now, failure is a stepping stone, right? If one attempt didn't work, he didn't give up. In text number 49 and 50, the words used were, he was carefully considering. So all this we just read, these are Vasudev's thoughts. What is he considering in his mind to be his next attempt? So he is carefully considering this matter as far as the knowledge would allow, using his intelligence in the service of the Lord to protect his good wife. So important decisions must be made with careful contemplation. And of course, Vasudev is, father of the Supreme Lord, great devotee. Sometimes there may be not a chance. He can't, phone his mentor. Hey, mentor, what should I do? Right? He can't phone his Diksha Guru, Shiksha Guru. What should I do in this situation? Right? There may be situations in life where we have to make an instant decision. Like this. Did Vasudev know that on the day of his marriage this was coming and how he would react? Certainly not. So, but those who are completely taken shelter of the Supreme Lord, the Dami Buddhi Yoga, so the Lord will give the direction. And if we deeply contemplate, it's basically a sign of a check from the Guru within, Chaitya Guru. The voice of God will tell, okay, no, you're thinking about this, but this does not seem right. Or you're thinking about this, and the voice will say, some people say sixth sense, some people say different things, but it's the approval of the Supreme Lord, the Dami Buddhi Yogantam. He will give the sanction or not the sanction. Hey, you're thinking about this. I don't think this is the right thing for you to do. So he carefully contemplated whether he is about to say something that he will give his sons who will be born from Devaki to Kamsa. Is this the right thing to do or not? So, and then he got the divine approval, and then he submitted his proposal. How? With great respect. He didn't say, "Oh rascal Kamsa, I am trying to explain you in such nice words, but you don't listen to me." Because ultimately what impact it would have, what will be the outcome of all this situation is the most important. So with great respect, Bahuman, Amanina Manadina, Kirtaniya Sadahari. Even if those who do not, giving respect to those who give respect is very easy. Anyone can do it. If someone speaks to me very kindly, I speak to him or her kindly. What's the big deal? To love those who love us is very easy. But to be kind, to give amanina manadena, to give all the respect, bahuman, to a person who is giving no man, who's giving apman, is trying to kill his wife and is giving bahuman to that person. Right? That's Vasudev. So you can meditate upon the qualities of Vasudev and his thought process, his intelligence. So many wonderful qualities are shared about Vasudev Maharaj here. So we'll pause here unless anyone has any comments. We'll continue tomorrow. So let's pause here. Kantraj Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Purana ki Jai, Śrī Prabhupada ki Jai, Samaveta Gaura Bhakta ki Jai.
Jai.
Vanchakalpatarupyascha Prapasandhya evacha Tatanam Bhavanebhyo Vishnu. Thank you so much. Hari Bol.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Prabhuji.
you.
Hare Kṛṣṇa.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.